Modern combat operations in low-intensity conflicts often involve fighting in urban terrain, inside desolate buildings, or forcing entry into vehicles, and turning a corner can be so unsafe that these unexpected close-quarters encounters often expose security forces to the enemy. As a result of the War on Terror, Israeli Lieutenant Colonel Amos Golan developed a highly effective close-encounter fighting tool to ensure a unit's safety. Such technology has existed for decades, and different iterations have helped several generations of soldiers, but the CornerShot has proved its outstanding usefulness and versatility in combat like no other tool of its kind. The device is a high-quality hardware system that allows detailed observation through a camera and monitor, complete with sniping and assault capabilities. And because the weapon system can be triggered completely from behind cover and also protects the user, it increases accuracy in sudden target engagement. Shooting from around a corner has never been more effective, and the world has taken notice. As short-range warfare has evolved, weapons that allow combatants to shoot around corners without exposing themselves to enemy fire have appeared in different versions throughout the decades. One of the earliest iterations of such technology was the periscope rifle from World War I, designed by different nations with slight variations. The most notable and mass-produced kind of periscope rifle was developed in 1915 by Lance Corporal William Beach of the 2nd Battalion of the Australian Imperial Force. After losing many of his compatriots to vicious Turk fire while peering above the trench top during battle, Beach decided to modify a Lee Enfield rifle with a periscope build meant for close-range sniping operations. Despite being considered a shady practice throughout most of the conflict by both sides, sniping skills were cultivated and refined during the war. Beach's modification allowed the repeating rifle to shoot at the Turk targets at up to 50 yards without risking the soldiers' lives by getting too close to the target. Used on the Gallipoli front, the periscope snipers successfully exacted a significant toll on the Turks. The Krumlauf. 2 decades later, the Germans developed the Krumlauf, a curved barrel extension and periscope attachment developed for the Sturmgewehr 44 rifle. Its main advantage was that the weapon's shape allowed a soldier to see in the direction it was firing. Introduced in the latter half of World War II, the Germans hoped that the Krumlauf would give the soldiers an edge in urban combat. However, the Allies were stronger than ever by the time it was introduced, and no amount of weapons, no matter how successful, would turn the tide of the war in favor of the Germans. After the war, the United States and the Soviet Union adopted a variety of German wonder weapons, but the Krumlauf attachment wasn't one of them. The concept remained shelved for the next 50 years until the so-called War on Terror in the 21st century sparked the latest iteration. In the early 2000s, as the War on Terror raged on, Counterterrorism Unit Commander Lieutenant Colonel Amos Golan from the Israeli Army introduced the latest iteration of cover-shooting weaponry, the CornerShot. The firearm accessory entered operational service as early as 2003 as part of the era's new technologies designed to benefit ground troops and give Israeli police and military units an advantage against dug-in adversaries. The CornerShot isn't a weapon per se. It's a rifle-sized specialized frame inside of which a firearm is installed. An advanced camera-equipped tool that allows the user to see, direct, and engage with targets from behind cover, the CornerShot incorporates all the latest technology in warfare as one highly specialized device. This way, the CornerShot mounting system turns a standard pistol into a short-barreled rifle with a front section that can swivel in either direction with a hinging lever. Depending on the direction of the corner and the hostile threat, the user can silently maneuver the system and then turn it straight back just as quickly without being noticed. The creators of the CornerShot also made sure that the weapon accessory was a handy observation and intelligence gathering platform. The heart of the system is a camera lens attached to the front of the swiveling pistol mount. Such a system includes a top-tier camera through which the operator can zoom in and observe from different angles, while a video output allows for remote viewing. Also, a flashlight and a laser sight for improved visibility lie above it. Mounted on the left side of the frame's receiver is a camcorder-style video monitor with a sighting crosshair, while an optional microphone completes the features that ensure the user sees and hears everything that's going on around the corner. the CornerShot unit records and documents all target engagements, making it an effective tool for legal, training, and evaluation purposes, similar to body cams. The tool can also be used in a wide variety of situations, as the system can be equipped with several different firearms, primarily handguns, like the Beretta 92, the Browning High Power, and the Glock series of pistols. Users can even complement the system with a 40mm launcher that can toss grenades, less powerful rounds, door-breaching munitions, and many other settings and choices. Amos Golan, the creator and one of the founders of the CornerShot program, has consistently and openly praised his invention. According to Golan, quote, "I believe that the CornerShot weapon system can be extremely beneficial in the global war on terror. It protects soldiers' lives and increases their chances of survival, while drastically improving their ability to gather information and transmit the combat scenario, as well as pinpoint and engage targets out of their line of sight." For all its advantages and versatility, the CornerShot also has its limitations. Despite being rifle-sized, the tool doesn't offer the same capabilities provided by dedicated rifles. Shooting through a small camera without the magnified optics that a rifle allows can be quite difficult, as the soldier is looking through a tiny screen attached to a firearm on the other side of an awkward lever. In addition, with the advent of unmanned aerial vehicles in the last decade and their deployment at the squad level in close counter-fighting, the ability to sneak past corners and survey the area is unmatched. Finally, with a 160-minute runtime, the CornerShot's battery doesn't last long enough to be used throughout a 12-hour patrol, and can only be used sporadically when the user is 100% sure of the target's engagement. The most inventive use of the weapon was featured in Discovery Channel's Future Weapons in 2009. In the episode, host and former Navy SEAL Mac Makowitz talked about the CornerShot weapon tool, but with a peculiar adjustment. The model was fitted with a stuffed cat as a disguise, with the animal's back legs up the weapon's bipod. During the show, in which the latest modern weaponry and military technology are reviewed and demonstrated, Makowitz gets a demonstration on how the weapon platform can shoot around corners with its hinged receiver, video camera, and monitor. Ultimately, Israel's CornerShot tool has proved a modern answer to an age-old issue, tackling short-range fighting in a unique way. So much so that China has reproduced 3 CornerShot-like devices going back to its early years, all unveiled at China police expos throughout the decades. Meanwhile, South Korea also unveiled its own take on the CornerShot in March of 2010, developed by the government's Agency for Defense Development. Overall, several countries have used the system in countless counter-terror operations in the post-9/11 era. And with the growing urbanization of postmodern warfare, an updated version of the model, or a tool similar to it, will likely continue to serve ground forces worldwide for decades to come, just like the weapons before it. For centuries, militaries have looked for ways to seamlessly blend into combat scenarios, but the need to camouflage has never been more urgent than in the era of high-tech detection. With modern heat scanning methods, keeping soldiers safe on the battlefield has become particularly challenging, but scientists have risen to the occasion. As engineering professor and team leader Alan Gorodetsky of the University of California, Irvine put it, quote, "We were inspired both by science fiction and science fact." And even though digital camouflage is not a new concept, recent research fields like biomimetics have allowed engineers to give soldiers the advantage of an unpretentious mollusk, to disappear. There was a time when soldiers wore bright attire to showcase their courageous military status. However, that changed in the 1800s when nitro powder was introduced. On a battlefield suddenly devoid of smoke, the flamboyant troops suddenly became vulnerable to the naked eye. As such, many developers started to provide ever-evolving uniforms to better conceal personnel on the front line. And for the past century, American scientists have been locked in a perpetual search for the ultimate hiding method. In World War II, military strategists covered their equipment in netting and then painted it with a dull-colored coat. But in the era of thermal imagery, the unrelenting evolution of warfare has challenged militaries to innovate yet again. Pervasive tiger stripes and woodland camouflage patterns just won't do it anymore. Many researchers have begun experimenting with different types of masks to cover the human body's heat signature, creating high-tech fabrics to protect personnel and assets from detection other than through visible light. Moreover, the widespread availability of night vision technology and other forms of thermal imaging have allowed insurgents and even terrorist groups to acquire the precious devices, leveling the ground between forces. Inevitably, the development of proper countermeasures has become a priority. The first incarnations of modern hiding technologies debuted in Iraq and Afghanistan, with pixelated digital micropatterns instead of the obsolete macro-pattern color blotches. Furthermore, the Western powers have all developed their own versions based on the advancements of clutter metrics, a leading-edge study field focused on understanding human neurological response to readily identify and locate objects. A range of modern techniques has already been developed, and many more are underway, inspired by astonishing advancements in forefront fields, including biomimetics, fractals, imaging analysis, and nanotechnology. Scientists are very close to countering ever more accurate devices and weapons. Adaptive camouflage has been a long-held dream for armies across the world, but the elusive ability to merge with a constantly changing environment might finally be within reach. Researchers at the Sandia National Laboratories in Albuquerque, New Mexico, have drawn inspiration from the natural world to create a synthetic, biomimetic material that will emulate many animals' ability to shift colors in harmony with their surroundings, just like a chameleon. More specifically, scientists have closely studied certain species of fish and the biochemical advantages that allow them to change colors and patterns to blend in with their environment. Researchers began exploring the military applications of such knowledge as early as the 2000s. As Sandia team leader George Bashand explained, quote, "Military camouflage outfits that blend with a variety of environments without needing an outside power source, blue, say, when at sea, and then brown in a desert environment, is where this work could eventually lead." Although the idea has been tried before, the Sandia team was able to achieve two significant breakthroughs. First, they simplified the energy supply to make the protein motors more efficient. But more importantly, they added a so-called off switch for added control. As Bashand explained, quote, "We essentially re-engineered the protein structure to introduce an on-off switch into the motor, so we can now turn our nanofluidic devices on and off." Some leaders in the field have even toyed with the idea of including camouflage paint to eliminate the thermal glare caused by the soldiers' hands and faces, further concealing the commandos. However, the latest advancements have focused on a particular mystery lying deep under the skin of an intriguing cephalopod. Even though it is not necessarily a clever creature, the squid has evolved an astonishing deflection system. Aside from its widely known ink-squirting trick to escape predators when under attack, the squid has a lesser-known ability. It can quickly camouflage because of its light-reflective skin. As of today, scientists have unpacked the secrets hiding under the skin of the squid. Indeed, the invertebrates are masters of camouflage, and their skin possesses the ability to rearrange its pigment crystals by using tiny motor proteins in their cells. Dr. Alan Gorodetsky and his team at the University of California, Irvine managed to isolate the protein called reflectin to create so-called invisibility stickers, which can change their coloration within a split second, just like a real squid. More impressively, the new invention can also hide soldiers from infrared detection. In the words of Dr. Gorodetsky, quote, "We've developed stickers for use as a thin, flexible layer of camo, with the potential to take on a pattern which will better match the soldiers' infrared reflectance to their background and hide them from active infrared visualization." The advanced technology was conveniently bound in a coated packing tape, not unlike the ordinary household type. Hence, the final product was a sheet of invisibility stickers ready to be used for camouflage. According to the journal Science, the thin material can change its heat reflection in an instant, and its composition includes aluminum, plastic, and sticky tape. Whenever the sticker is pulled apart by hand or shocked with voltage, it transforms from a wrinkled and gray surface to a glassy one, allowing it to regulate its temperature and therefore become invisible to infrared night vision. Moreover, slight changes in the film's thickness affect how light interacts with its surface, enabling it to change to virtually any color. As seen through an optical camera, the thicker tape takes an orange hue. In fact, the thinner the tape, the bluer the material turns, right on the opposite side of the luminance spectrum. The outstanding development offers a straightforward application. As Gorodetsky pointed out, quote, "Soldiers wear uniforms with the familiar green and brown camouflage patterns to blend into foliage during the day, but under low light and at night, they're still vulnerable to infrared detection." Despite having existed for several years, engineers have just recently harnessed the true potential of heat-reflective products. The latest advancements in bioengineering have allowed the creation of vastly improved close imitations of cephalopods' abilities. Still, the tentative idea is not ready for the real world. As the doctor clarified, the plan is that soldiers carry a roll of invisibility stickers, swiftly applying them to their uniforms to vanish. The main point is to create an expensive and completely disposable solution. As the developer described, quote, "You take out this protein-coated tape, you use it quickly to make an appropriate camouflage pattern on the fly, then you take it off and throw it away." Nevertheless, the disruptive technology might not be restricted to military applications. Gorodetsky and his team have floated the idea of using the material in civilian clothing that could either trap or reflect heat, according to the wearer's needs. Furthermore, beyond superior camouflage for military troops, potential uses encompass insulation for spacecraft, storage containers, emergency shelters, clinical care, and heating and cooling systems. The team is now committed to scaling the material into larger sheets and making it commercially available. But despite its futuristic concept and sci-fi feel, it might not be long before such benefits reach the men on the front line. Richard Browning, known as the real-life Iron Man, has catapulted personal aviation into a new era with his innovative jetpack. Created by his company Gravity Industries, this jetpack is capable of hitting speeds of 85 miles per hour and soaring to altitudes over 12,000 feet. It's a versatile tool, proving its mettle in diverse scenarios, from maritime ship raids with the Royal Marines and urban combat to high-altitude rescue missions. Equipped with 5 gas turbines, the jetpack's design mirrors the agility of a fighter jet and the precision of a surgical instrument. Each flight is powered by miniature jet engines mounted on the arms and back. But now, Browning has taken a bold step into uncharted territory. The latest iteration of this jetpack doesn't just defy gravity, it defies expectations. Merging aviation with weaponry, Browning has integrated an automatic pistol into the jetpack, operable with a mere turn of his head. This addition has propelled the jetpack from a tool of exploration and rescue into a potential asset in combat. The concept of a human, airborne, and fully equipped to engage in combat, once the realm of science fiction, is now a startling reality. Richard Browning, former British Royal Marine, chief test pilot, and founder of Gravity Industries, once said, quote, "To feel your feet off the ground, that ultimate freedom of true flight. This will be a day you remember for the rest of your life." His company has been building the ultimate jetpack for almost a decade, and Browning is close to becoming the ultimate and real Iron Man. From humble beginnings to a multi-million-dollar organization, Gravity Industries has taken the top spot among the most innovative technological assets developed. Richard Browning's trajectory from the oil industry to the skies was a fusion of diverse influences. His roots lay in an aeronautical engineer father's workshop, where childhood memories of model gliders and innovative tinkering flourished. Tragically, his father's passing when he was 15 was a turning point. With a lineage boasting a wartime and civil pilot for a father, and a grandfather who once helmed Westland helicopters, aviation was practically in his DNA. His time in the Royal Marines strengthened the flames of his fascination with human potential and his desire to reach the skies. Inspired by the adaptability of mind and body, Browning envisaged a novel form of human flight. Combining horsepower with the resilience of the human spirit became his passion project. When questioned about this idea, he reflected, quote, "The idea blossomed from a place of pure challenge and joy, devoid of any business notions. Thus began Browning's journey, influenced by the joy of the quest, unfettered by commercial aspirations. With his ideals firm in one objective, Browning got to work. The road ahead was difficult, but the former Royal Marine embarked on his dream in March 2016. He worked intensively during the evenings and weekends. Such innovation began with the purchase of the first jet engine, propelling him through countless prototypes until the breakthrough of the inaugural flight in November 2016. For 6 months, refinement became the hallmark, culminating in the birth of Gravity Industries, which was unveiled to the world in April 2017. The venture swiftly caught the eye of investors, with an impressive $650,000 secured within 2 months of the announcement. Tim and Adam Draper, renowned for their pioneering investments in tech giants like Baidu Incorporated, Tesla, and Skype, backed Browning's jetpack. This influx of support marked a decisive moment in Browning's journey from a personal passion project to a promising business venture. Since its launch, Gravity Industries has attracted the attention of military and police forces around the globe, leading to several approaches by the United States military, the British Armed Forces, and several NATO partners. According to a press release by Gravity, the team has, quote, executed over 105 live flight events in 31 countries, set up search and rescue and military collaborations, trained over 50 clients to fly in the US and UK, and are scaling towards an international race series. Browning's team, comprised of over 30 individuals, from engineers to pilots of 5 different countries, has enabled the brand to expand and be experienced by over 1 billion people globally, with video views alone running at more than 60 million within 7 days of the first launch. Gravity's jet suit has more horsepower than a Bugatti Veyron thanks to its 5 gas turbines that generate over 318 pounds of thrust. The jetpack can reach up to 85 miles per hour and achieve a maximum altitude of over 12,000 feet. Browning himself has said that the current Mark II model has just scratched the surface regarding what is possible to achieve with current technology. The Mark II uses 2 miniature jet engines on each arm. A 5th one is on the backpack, which also carries 5¼ gallons of jet fuel. The user can propel himself for 5 to 10 minutes before running out of fuel. Browning also plans on developing a tethered electric version for widespread training and other uses. Although the innovative jetpack costs over $400,000, it's relatively easy to use. During an interview, Browning said, quote, "It's a bit like riding a bicycle or skiing, or one of those things where it's just about you thinking about where you want to go and your body intuitively going there. We've had people learn to do this in 4 or 5 goes, each lasting around 90 seconds. The new version of the jet suit, the Mark III, set a Guinness World Record in 2019 when Browning achieved a top speed of 85.6 miles per hour. This 3rd version will feature more flight time, higher altitude, and a wing system extending the jet suit's range by a broader margin. Although individuals can contact Gravity to buy their jetpack, the company is focused on leasing the suit to the military, rescue, and entertainment industries. In May 2021, the British Royal Marines tested Browning's jacket for a maritime boarding operation. The astonishing footage taken by Gravity attracted attention worldwide. It shows the jetpack taking off from a moving inflatable boat full of Royal Marines. The pilot lifts off the boat with relative ease and begins to make his way through the ocean until he reaches the deck of the Royal Navy's HMS Tamar. Afterward, the operator releases a ladder overboard so that the awaiting Marines on the boat can commence the boarding procedure. In other scenes, Browning is seen boarding the deck with a pistol and clearing the area before the other 2 jetpack operators arrive at the location for additional support. The Iron Man suit has also been used for military operations with the Special Forces of the Netherlands. Browning employed the suit in an urban scenario to hunt down a rogue gunman. The video captures the technical value of the Gravity suit, as the operator is seen gaining access to the best positions to conceal himself and identify the target before he runs away. While the special operators approach the hot zone, the jetpack user maneuvers through the buildings, rushes for the criminal, and traps him with the help of the high ground. Moments later, the operators seize the area and capture the enemy. Gravity also released footage of how the jetpack can be used for mountain warfare rescue exercises in Slovenia. Gravity's suit was employed for a rescue mission in a joint exercise with NATO. The jetpack was used to deliver plasma and other supplies to a wounded man high in the mountains of the countryside. Despite its experimental use with militaries worldwide, no one has truly conceived the idea of incorporating the gravity suit into its arsenal. Although extremely innovative, the suit is still cumbersome and clunky for intense combat scenarios. Furthermore, employing a weapon other than a pistol poses a problem, at least until now. In November 2023, Gravity Industries and Richard Browning left the military world again in awe. This time, the so-called Iron Man released a TikTok video showing himself firing a pistol remotely by moving his head while hovering with the jetpack suit. He's seen aiming remotely, moving his head and staring at the target before unleashing a lethal barrage of pistol fire. The scene seems taken out of a movie or video game, but it is real and part of what Browning and his team have called the Daedalus flight pack. Although the clip shown is brief, analysts have concluded the pistol is attached to the Daedalus through a tubular frame, held in a mount that can be articulated in multiple degrees. The pistol is fired remotely with a head tracking system. Military analysts have suggested the gun used by Daedalus could be an automatic Glock, but the model has not been revealed. Glock's most famous automatic pistol is the G17 9x19mm pistol, also known as the G18. The Daedalus flight pack is an improvement over Gravity's latest attempt to militarize the jetpack. As mentioned, the company has partnered with several militaries to test the jetpack. Browning also participated in 2023's U.S. Navy Joint Prototyping and Experimentation Maritime, or JPEM program. Daedalus assisted in a simulated boarding operation, where an M80 Stiletto stealth ship was employed as the target vessel. Experts have argued about the effectiveness of the Daedalus jetpack due to the G18 Glock's high fire rate and limited range accuracy. Extended magazines can partially address the high fire rate issue, but the pistol's magazine extension seen in the video does not significantly increase ammunition. Additionally, a high volume of fire is not always optimal. It might have situational uses, allowing suppressing fire while landing before switching to a more practical and effective weapon, such as a rifle or SMG. The Daedalus design also limits hand usage for maneuvering during flight, preventing multitasking with other equipment or weapons. Gravity has also noted it plans to incorporate a parachute into the design in case the jet suit plummets to the ground. Military personnel have also been quick to criticize the operational use of the jetpack once the soldier arrives at his destination. Carrying it is a burden and limits movement and aiming. Leaving it behind is not an option, given its costly price. Whichever the case, militaries across the globe are still deeply interested in Gravity's design, and Browning will continue improving his design until it suits a multitude of roles beyond the military, security, first responders, and medical attention personnel. For millennia, mankind has fantasized about the idea of a super warrior, and with the latest technological advances of the last few decades, it has never been so close to creating an actual weaponized suit. Conceived in 2013, the Tactical Assault Light Operator Suit, or TALOS, is a mechanized armor that enhances the user's performance and perception beyond human capabilities, not to mention its outstanding ballistic protection. The ultra-advanced protective garment, boasting bewildering robotics and high-tech innovations, was a joint effort between universities, laboratories, and the technology industry to protect those most at risk in the front lines. The TALOS was actually accelerated due to one unfortunate incident in 2012. Had something like it existed back then, the fate of heroic Chief Petty Officer Nicholas Czech might have been prevented. It was December 8th, 2012, and the Taliban had just captured an American doctor. SEAL Team 6, or the U.S. Navy's vaunted Naval Special Warfare Development Group, was to conduct a nighttime raid to rescue the non-combatant from the Taliban's clutches. Aerial surveillance reported an active guard on the target compound. In support of Operation Enduring Freedom, the team infiltrated the enemy stronghold and met a well-armed and determined Taliban guard force. Led by Chief Petty Officer Nicholas Czech, the primary assault force skillfully maneuvered and approached the Taliban compound, having identified the exact building where the criminals were holding the hostage. Soon, a sentry spotted the incoming American commandos and sprinted inside, presumably to alert the terrorists about the impending incursion. The 28-year-old team leader immediately realized the hostage's life was at risk, as the enemy now knew of their intentions and position. Without hesitating, Czech then chased after the guard and rushed inside to single-handedly confront the enemy. Acting on instinct, the young hero engaged the guards at close range and was taken down. His selflessness earned him a posthumous Navy Cross, whose citation reads, quote, "His bravery and unhesitant commitment in pursuit of the target was pivotal in saving the American hostage and the ultimate success of the overall mission." Indeed, the doctor was rescued and flown to safety. In the aftermath, Special Operations Commander Admiral William McRaven stated, quote, "I'm very committed, because I'd like that last operator that we lost to be the last one that we ever lose, in this fight or in the fight of the future." The concept, first presented by Admiral McRaven, was conceived in May of 2013 as a direct consequence of the promising young man's loss, and the fact that standard combat gear had not evolved significantly from the days of World War II. It was named the Tactical Assault Light Operator Suit, or TALOS. It was military analyst Jared Keller who made the connection between TALOS and Czech in his reporting for Task and Purpose. Established via first-hand interviews, Keller determined that Czech was likely a catalyst for the program, writing in an article titled "The Inside Story Behind the Pentagon's Ill-Fated Quest for a Real-Life Iron Man Suit" that, quote, "Czech's sacrifice isn't just another story of courage and valor from the annals of U.S. military history. Just 1 year later, it would end up reigniting the U.S. military's attempt to reimagine the warfighter of the future, one cloaked in the safety of a suit of robotic armor." Historian and author Adrian Mayer further suggests that the acronym is a tribute to the Greek myth of Talos, a giant bronze android who appears in epic poems going back to 700 BC. Inspired by centuries of military imagery, the United States Special Operations Command, or SOCOM, set out to design a real-life exoskeleton with the help of universities, laboratories, and the technology industry. The project's brief outlined a bulletproof and weaponized suit with the additional ability to monitor vitals. In addition, it would also enhance the user's strength and perception, and would be built in layers of smart materials and sensors. The collaborative effort included the collaboration of no less than 56 corporations, 16 government agencies, 13 universities, and 10 national laboratories, namely the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, the U.S. Army Research, Development, and Engineering Command, and the Army Research Laboratory. It was presumed that the enterprise would achieve first-generation capability within a year, with 3 prototypes expected to be delivered by the summer of 2014. However, such an ambitious endeavor would prove more complicated than expected. For some time, the fondly called Iron Man suit became the favorite topic in defense circles. But notably, it was never officially seen as a program, but more like an effort. SOCOM aimed to incorporate a powered exoskeleton, full body armor, and situational awareness displays, and promised capabilities beyond ballistic protection. Enhanced combat capabilities included enabling soldiers to run faster and longer, but more importantly, without getting fatigued. Furthermore, the suit would allow commandos to not only lift heavier objects than normal, but to carry and hold them for significantly longer periods. Anchored on the back and running down the operator's legs and arms, TALOS would create a superhuman warrior. Still, the exoskeleton was never intended to clothe every soldier in a squad, and was initially envisaged to protect the most vulnerable, like those who breached through doors first, the lead operators. One of its major components was a specialized fluid that would sustain a low-density state until impacted from the outside. Then, in an instant, the material would harden enough to stop a bullet in midair. Meanwhile, several other features were designed to increase comfort, namely internal heating and cooling, with adaptive temperature control depending on the climate. In the desert, the ability to keep lower body temperatures would significantly decrease a commando's fatigue. In contrast, heating could prevent joints from getting stiff or numb due to freezing temperatures. Additionally, the intelligent armor would gather health information from the operator, and even observers, such as heart rate, stress, and injuries, all in real time. At one point, it was also suggested that the system could administer wound-packing gauze, but the concept was never clarified. While Lieutenant Commander Lee Cohen completed the prototype selection process on behalf of SOCOM, the Enterprise soon proved to be out of reach for current technologies. Many industries already use exoskeletons in a variety of ways. From construction to the automotive industry, top companies have been experimenting with such types of machinery for years. Many were even led to believe that the military would already be in the fine-tuning stages of operational advanced mechanized warrior suits. In reality, however, some defense officials have asserted that the futuristic concept would not be practical or even functional until at least 2026. When SOCOM failed to meet the initial deadline to deliver a prototype by 2018, command leadership expected the testing of a powered exoskeleton by the summer of 2019. However, the project was abruptly shut down that year. By February, it was announced that the supersuit was not as feasible as originally envisioned. Still, the Enterprise was not entirely a failure. The 5-year effort came closer to producing a suit of armor than any other project the Pentagon has carried out. 10 somewhat mature subsystems stemmed from the program, including an advanced body armor, an augmented reality heads-up display, and a lower body booster to support running and long marches and reduce wear and tear, provided it is removed before combat.